Morning and welcome to Angling For You. Today we are at the canal, hopefully to catch a river shark, obviously that being a pike. We're just setting up. I'll put it around to Matt. Matt's around here. He's getting, what are you doing, Matt?
Just setting up a little landing net actually for some silvers.
We're going to try and get some silvers for some dead baits, and also just a little bit of pleasuring, and then hopefully we'll catch a pike. So stay tuned. Anyway, stay tuned, and hopefully we'll have a pike or something, or even a big perch. That'd be nice. So yeah, we'll catch you in a bit when it's a bit lighter and we don't look like Blair Witch. See you in a bit.
We're down on the Aire and Calder navigation in Nottingley. We've just had a take on a perch that's fished on the float. The fish is just down here. Have you seen it, Ben, yet? Any idea what size it is?
I've got a flash of it, looks alright. I think it's ridiculous, but I don't think it's small. So this is my first proper bag, so I'm no guide. I don't know, it's pretty alright. It's alright.
That's a good sized fish, that, mate. That one, I reckon, is a double. Just grab the net.
Right, so Matt's just letting her go. What was she, Matt? 14, 12?
14, 12, yeah.
14, 12, so that's not bad for my first pike ever. Buzzing my fucking tits off, if I'm honest. I mean, well, I did that. Well, I'm buzzing my tits off.
We just had it in nets for a couple of minutes, just making sure that it's fully recovered. See if I can bring it back up to you.
But what we were saying, Matt, is even despite it's freezing, like really more lively than you've ever known. You've ever known fishing quite often for them.
Yeah, generally once you get them in the net, they are fairly calm.
Beautifully, and off she goes.
But yeah, she got plenty of fight left in her still when she was in the net.
So what we'll do is we'll have a little look at that rig that we had on, and Matt will just give you a little bit of insight on it.
Right, I'll just talk you through the rig that we're using here today. It's a Shimano Hyperloop rod, which is actually Shimano's kind of budget range. It's a 2 3/4 pound test curve. It's paired up with a Shimano bait runner reel, a 12 pound main line. It's just normal Maxima mono. In terms of the rig, we're using a float rig. Got a 12 gram dumpy float, which is actually free running up to a little bead stop just up here. It's actually a number 6 shot is that one. And at the bottom end we've just got a couple of rubber beads, a bullet weight, which is to keep the bait down where you want it to be. These are a wire trace that I've tied up myself, and the rig that I prefer to use is a big single on the front and a treble at the back.
We actually hooked that on the single hook, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
Really well hooked, just inside at mouth on it.
Yep.
And that were a big old perch that we had on there, about 10-ounce perch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big fish, yeah. Yeah, it was probably sort of 6-8 inches long. Quite surprising that, you know, a pike of that size would take it, but clearly they do.
And hopefully we're going to catch some more, and it'll be Matt landing it next time.
I'm just going to talk you through making up a wire trace. I like to make my own. You can buy really good shop bought ones, though there's nothing wrong with them, but I do like to fish a slightly bigger trace than what you get on a lot of the shop bought ones. That's roughly the length I'm going to be using, so I've got probably 50 centimetres, 1.5 to 2 foot. I'll show you here where I've tied the treble. And the way that I like to do it is a simple knot, done twice over, and then I twirl the line around it probably 7 or 8 times. And I'll cover that up with a rubber sleeve, so that'll cover up all of that wire and make it all neat and tidy.
Why do we put the rubber sleeve? Is it just in case, you know, it like unwinds, or is it?
Yeah, it does help protect the knot, but more than anything, it actually just helps keep the rig really nice and straight.
Right.
So I'm just slipping that on there, and then I'll show you what that looks like when you pull it through. There we go. And then the eye of the hook will just sit really nice in there, and that keeps it really neat and tidy.
Really neat, that, isn't it?
I then use a pretty big single hook on the front. So this is it's a size 4 Camasan, just your standard carp hook. The reason that I use such a big hook is for when you're using soft baits, such as like a sardine, for example. I just find that a big hook like that helps to get it really deep into the head of the fish.
What type of wire are you using?
This one I'm using is a 7-strand wire. It's MIDI. You get various different brands. The Drennan stuff is really good.
I suppose it's whatever you get on with the best in it. Everyone has their own preference, don't they?
Yep. So in terms of setting this up, you can actually set this at whatever length you want, depending on where you want your front hook and your rear hook to be. I'm going to set it about there. I don't like to use massive baits generally, and all I'm going to do here is just tie a standard knotless knot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go around the hook shank.
So that's actually a good indication for you guys if you tie in your hook links. If you imagine where the other hook was from that, if you bring it shorter in with your band tied on, that's pretty much how you do a knotless knot for your carp rigs.
So I've given it 7 turns just there. I'm going to feed the trace back through, keeping all that tight as we can, and there we go, and we pull that taut. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a rig sleeve over that so that it brings it nice and tight.
So what we're going to do, guys, as well, we're going to do a little bit of a close-up. Once we've tied this rig, Matt's got it attached back to it. He'll show you how to hook a dead bait on there as well. So just putting that last sleeve again, just like you say, protection, but also keeps everything straight. No chance of bits and bobs getting caught, is there?
No.
And are they just a good pair of pliers that you got there as well?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, just standard pair of wire snips.
Essential, really.
Yeah, they are.
Matt's in now. He just had a little bob on the it's pinned to the bottom in it on a lead, and it's basically just had we just saw it as we were filming that bit about how we were tying the hook links, and it struck it, nothing there, and he's just dangled it in the water, and we've had another take on it, which is great. I'm just going to walk down the bank a little bit, film Matt, and grab the net at the same time. Looks like a good fish, Matt.
Yeah, I did see a quick flash of it. Looks like it could be another double.
So Matt thinks it's another double. Like I say, he's more experienced than me, but putting up a good account of itself. Oh, it's a lovely fish. That is a lovely fish, that, Matt. No pressure. Is that on your Accuralite rod, that one?
No, this is another Shimano Hyperloop rod.
So the Shimano Hyperloop, like Matt says, not particularly massively expensive, but if you just try and pike fishing out, it would probably be a really good one to start with. Oh, it's a good fish. Get this net in. Oh yes, lovely. Just gonna hold it while Matt grabs it. We'll have a quick flash in the net, and then we will get it unhooked and we'll get some photos of it. And that's another lovely fish, Matt.
Yeah, it's another nice one, that. Pleased with that.
Beautiful fish.
If you want to leave the camera running, I'll go into the unhooking.
Yeah, we'll show you a little bit of how to unhook it. Obviously, delicate situation with Pike. You've really got to give them the respect, because you definitely don't want to get caught. And it's another very, very lively fish, like we said before with the other one. Do you want to just have a little talk through while you're doing it, Matt, and just sort of explain your thoughts?
I think for me the most important thing once you get the fish in the net is to try and get the hooks out as soon as possible. Like we've just seen, when they start flapping around it can cause all sorts of problems in terms of it getting tangled in your net. In terms of holding the fish, I like to go underneath the gills. I don't know if you can see there where this one's hooked. I've just got the treble just there. Okay, so that is the hook out of the fish's mouth. It is, as you can see in my net, it's really badly tangled up now. So I'm just going to move the net out of the way and we'll get it in the landing mat.
And it's very important, like in big carp fishing, to have these nets to keep them nice and safe. And obviously we can weigh them as well, which is good. If you want to try and give...
This fish has had some war wounds on it.
It certainly has.
There's quite a few marks down the side, so that could have been from when it was younger.
What do you estimate that around 9?
Yeah, I think it's probably 9, maybe 10 pounds at the most. Certainly not as big as the fish that we saw earlier today. So I'll just grab the scales and we'll weigh it and we'll see what we've got. Oh yeah, we've got it on the scales.
Oh wow, it's actually bigger. So the net weighs a pound, so she's 13.1. 13.1, Matt.
Yeah, happy with that.
That's a good fish. 2 good fish there. Matt was just saying, and actually quite an interesting point. As you see, he's got the keep net there. There's not actually anything in it. We've just got it here to attract the pike, and he actually... You go through what you did, what happened last week, Matt?
Yeah, last week I was fishing just a little further down, and there were a couple of chaps that were fishing for silvers, just roach fishing. And one of the guys shouts me over because his keep nets basically kept getting bangs from the pike. So the pike were essentially attacking the keep net that were in the fish. So I literally went over, dropped my rig in, and within probably 2 minutes or so, I'd got the fish on. And that was a decent fish, it was about 12 pound. So yeah, really happy with that. And surprisingly, throughout the day, that's what kept happening. And what we've done today, we have got a keep net out where we're fishing just here. And we've only got a few roach in it, but it seems to be attracting them in because all the fish that we've caught this morning and the runs that we've had have been from rigs that have been down near the keep net.
Yeah, really haven't they? Everything's been around that keep net.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll let Matt pick it up, and then we'll get a sort of video of him and the best ways to pick it up when you're looking for a photo. So right, Matt, what Matt's going to do now is just show you the best way if you are taking a photo, to handle, what to look out for when you're picking up these fish, because you really do have to treat them with respect, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The teeth are literally razor sharp. I think a lot of the anglers that do get caught, it's not by the fish deliberately trying to bite them. You know, they do wriggle around, and if your hands are anywhere near the mouth, by the teeth. So what I like to do when I'm holding the camera is just hold it underneath the gills. It's probably the place where you can hold it and get a real firm grip and have good control over the fish to make sure that you're not going to be dropping it or hurting it. So I'll have one hand near the tail and the other hand right underneath the gill. So I'll show you here. We're going to run up. This is just a little bit of blood from where it was hooked. So you go underneath the gills, run it up towards its mouth, and there you can get a good hold. You don't want to push your fingers too far in there. They are gill rakers, which
They're very delicate,
yeah,
aren't they?
they are really delicate, and they can cut you.
So you've got that one underneath there, that's... And then it's got a really good firm hold around the tail. Like, there you go, lifting it up. It's got full control over it. So what we're going to do now is going to get it back, and we will show you how to show you a little bit about the rig. So Matt's just going to get the fish back. Important, like anything with big fish, that you let them get the big fish. They use a lot of energy, especially when it's cold, and you really need to sort of let them come back, get that water running through the gills before you let them go. You've got to respect. You know, it's a pleasure and it's an honour really to catch fish of this size. And it's just giving a that bit of respect, isn't it, Matt?
It is, absolutely, yeah. Pike are actually, although they're one of the most aggressive fish that you come across, they're also one of the most delicate.
It's just about giving it its own time to come back. You know, the big fish, like Matt says, You know, you expend a lot of energy, and energy that they'll want to conserve this time of year especially.
I can see that it is starting to wriggle around in the net now, so I think it is good to go. So I'll show you it swimming free. Right, I'm just going to talk you through the rig setup for the fish that we've just had. These again, it's the Shimano Power Hyperloop rod that we've used, and a bait and a reel. And in terms of the actual rig, this really couldn't be any more simple and straightforward. It's a free running rig. It's the same type of rig that I use for all of my barbel and pike fishing. It's a free run rig, bead and stopper. This one is from the Fox range. Got 2 ounce lead to make sure that we're holding the bottom. To be fair, on the Canal here you can get away with using slightly smaller leads than that, and that's just attached to roughly 50 centimetre trace. This one is slightly different to the last one that we showed you in that it's got double treble hooks on it, and that's because we're using a dead bait on here. And rather than it having rig sleeves across it, on this one I've actually used some shrink tube, which is how I used to do it. Actually the rig tubes hold much better and give you a much better finish in terms of the presentation, so I no longer do them like this, but obviously the rig is still working, it's still having effect. And this one is tied onto a 15-pound braid that we're using, which is again, it's just part of my my barbel setup, to be fair. Haven't changed it for the piking. It is strong enough. A lot of pike anglers will use much heavier braid than that, 20 and 30-pound braid, but you don't really need to unless you're fishing on venues that are particularly snaggy. Here on the Canal it's not too bad at all, so you can get away with using that lighter braid.
Just talk people through sort of your thought process, because we had a take, which I'll let you go through, but then some people would maybe they'd have that take and then they'd take it out. Just explain sort of what happened and now you actually managed to hook the fish.
Yeah, so essentially we just had a few beeps on the bite alarm and I had a look down, and sure enough the rod end were going. I lifted the rod and struck into the fish. I do like to hit them early. Some people like to give it a little bit more time for the fish to turn, but there's nothing worse than deep hooking a pike, so I do like to hit them early. In this instance I struck into it and actually there was nothing there. I lifted the bait up to see if it was still hooked on, and it was. Dropped it back in. Literally within about 10 or 15 seconds, rod end went round, and I'd got the fish on, and it was basically as I was lowering the lead down into where the fish was. We were fishing no more than a rod length out from the edge of the Canal side, so probably 6-7 foot. And yeah, we got the take, so the fish was still there, still looking for food, and it took it.
So it's a big important fact, that is, just if you do get a take like that, and you know it's possibly still there, just to sort of dot it around. And that's similar to how you hooked that one around that keep net last week, wasn't it? And that was just sort of dropping it around, getting its attention. If it thinks it's sort of wounded, then it's going to go for it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the same applies as well for when you're lure fishing. Quite often you'll see people get takes, you know, and the fish will basically follow all the way into your feet. There's no reason at all why you can't just chuck it straight back out in there, and quite often anglers will get a take. Or sometimes it's really advisable, if you are fishing on a lure and you've also got another dead bait rig, have your dead bait rig set in somewhere near the side, so that when you are getting those follows that are coming in and bringing the pike into your area, you can get a take then on the dead bait rig. I know quite a few anglers that do that and have some good success on it. Alright, we're just going to show you here how to hook dead bait. To be fair, these dead baits are a little bit smaller than what I would normally use. I've got a pack of them, and I like to fish a dead bait that's probably another inch or two bigger than that. But nevertheless, I'll show you how I go about hooking them. As I showed you before, I like to use a big single at the front with a treble on at the back, and that's so that you can use this to hook nice and deep into the head of the fish, and that, more than anything, is just to hold the bait. Second hook we're going to put in just down the flank of the fish, so that holds in nicely just there, and we'll pull that tight so that sits around it, and that's how we're going to present the fish. The reason that I've hooked it like that through the head is to allow you to do what's called twitching, which is essentially where you kind of draw the rod up through the air, lifts your bait and allows it to fall again.
Right guys, so it's been a really cold day, but really good. Like when you do these sort of things, and I'm sure Matt agrees with me, you're not after 20-30 fish, you're after a fish or a couple of fish, and you know we've had some great runs, but we've managed to get at least a fish each, and again double figures as well, Matt.
Yep. Yeah, really happy with it. Last season I had quite a few blanks, and you have to just get used to that when you are doing specimen fishing. It does become the norm. As long as you've got a nice warm flask and a cuppa with you, you can get through the day.
It's even better when you've got good friends. There's maybe someone else to talk to. But so yeah, like we say, we're not saying we're no professionals at pike fishing. We're going to try and bring some more predator fishing to you this winter, maybe some drop shotting as well. We'll go through our experiences with it and how we set up. You know, don't hold us to it. We're not professionals at it. You know, it's not our regular fishing, so we're just going to give you what works for us. And you know, usually as always as the channel, it's ways that are easy to follow and easy to do if you're going to try it. So thanks a lot as always, guys, for subscribing and watching our videos. You know, it's really doing well. Come and join us on the Facebook group, like Matt and Nikki joining us on there as admins. Me and Matt have been running this channel for quite a long time, and you know, there's great people on there. We've got some good stuff coming out in Members Days. We're looking at what with Silvers Days. Yeah, we're going to get a few Members Days in over the summer, and look to get more set up throughout next year as well. We've got one coming up which is going to be a sea fishing trip, which if you're interested, drop us a note and let us know. That's going to be back end of November or perhaps into December. Yeah, happy days. And yeah, we're going to look to get a few Silvers matches set up as well. So as always, mate, come and join us on the Facebook group at Angling For You. Come and join us on the Instagram at angling_for you. Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks a lot. Tight lines.